Great. All right, so let's officially start. So we're going to talk about this property management system managed app. The reason for the training session is because over the last few weeks, we've had a massive transition period from Property Tree to managed app. Just to give a bit of an introduction, Tom and us, we've been definitely chatting. We've been going through a few things. Now for them, I suppose they're a bit of a startup. So, a few things need to be ironed out. But so far, so good. We've had many properties come across to manage. The great thing about managed is the fact, obviously, is trust-free accounting. So that's pretty cool. In the past, all the property management have been through a trust account, either through a software, Property Tree, Property.me, Console, some of these softwares out there. And the good thing about managed is because it's trust-free accounting, the split's much higher for the property manager / agent. I think everyone's pretty much aware we offer up to 90% split on the commission for property management, which is really quite high. The reason that we can do that is because we're not the cost of receipting in trust. Anyway, you can Google Tom. If you want his mobile number, I'm happy to give it to you. He's happy to take any calls from anyone from our office. He is the founder or co-founder, of the software. It's with a gentleman, the Boris family, Mark Boris. Mark Boris, just to let you know, is the founder of Yellow Brick Roads, which is one of the largest brokers in the country. A bit like an Aussie on loans, obviously well backed by a lot of money. They've got 50 people sitting in Surrey Hills in Sydney. They have a free breakfast. I think I sent that to the WhatsApp group. But, if you're in Sydney and you want to go to this free breakfast, you're more than welcome to it. It's in North Sydney. He's invited every single member of Oxbridge to go to meet him and his team and the software and that kind of stuff. So we are a subscriber to his service, and so far we've been pretty happy in general. Obviously, there's a few things we have to iron out, but I think in general we're okay. Right now they've got 9,000 properties. At the moment, Oxbridge has got a few hundred properties we manage. Obviously, you are able to manage a property with us. The back end is managed by a company called National Property Solutions, NPS. They're the white label company for many of the other agencies out there. So you can be assured that your properties will be well managed. So I am just going to take you through pretty much everything. There's a few other people that are supposed to join us, but I think they're having too much fun with the coffee. But yeah, so I'm going to take you through everything, basically from the very beginning. I had a few requests. How do we do property management from the very start? Well, the first thing is obviously you need to get a listing, just like sales, whether it be commercial or residential. There's not much difference between commercial and residential, but commercial, I would have to say, it's much easier to do. If you ask Sanjeeta to come in, she's at the coffee. Sanjeeta. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. So commercial is much easier in some respects because the tenants usually look after everything. Residential, obviously, as you know, if something breaks in the house, the property manager will have to go in and fix it. So, it's a bit more effort, but it's nevertheless very lucrative. Yeah, come in, Sanjeeta. So yeah. Anyway, so just to start that off, the first thing is obviously get a listing. Now, I don't know if everyone's aware of this, but I've been tracking the number of people requesting access to our leads. I'm actually quite surprised there's not that many, which I'm really. Anyway, so go to agents.oxbridge.com.au. You click on the resources tab, which will eventually come up right here. It's a very simple password. It's just our 1300 number, 680690. Nothing to it. And then you scroll down the resource page. People ask me, I can't get listings, blah blah blah. Well, we provide so many leads out there. It's pretty easy just to give them a call, and then to try to get a listing. Under Oxbridge Weekly Leads, in your resource page, and this has been recorded, so I will send across this to other people later so they can play it back. there's actually a training session on FISBO. So what are these leads? Well, we've got a patent, the patents office at the moment gives us exclusive access to the technology. We've developed this in-house. What it does is it scours through properties online. So for example, like, a good example would be Gumtree. Imagine sitting there on Gumtree, scrolling through Gumtree, looking for sale by owners and for rent by owners. Now, this is done automatically for you already. So you don't have to do it yourself. We also do other websites as well. There's other websites we've done which scours through the numbers of the vendor. You click on this, weekly access, leads access, and it takes you to a massive Excel spreadsheet, which you can access online. All you have to do is call the mobile phone number. The mobile phone number is actually given to you. So there's a link. You do need to approve to be accessible to this. Obviously, it's a very, very valuable. This has a lot of attention in the market at the moment. There's a media article coming on this because I don't think any other agency has a patent on this except for us. It's a huge competitive advantage. If you're new to real estate, the biggest challenge for real estate agents is listings and prospecting. The sale of the property, usually it's not that difficult because I think property is given time and obviously expectation will sell itself. So that's quite good. All you have to do is call their numbers. On that list, it's got a mixture of for sale and for rentals. Just to let you know, there's a few great websites out there which you can have a look at where landlords will try and rent the house themselves. And then you can look at the list and you can see them because some of the property descriptions has the amount per week, and that's obviously a rental. To approach them, as I said, every single one of the listings is free marketing. You just have to call them and say, you know what, I know you're trying to do this by yourself, but if you want us to help you, we can do it for you much better than you can do it yourself because we have all the software. We have Manage now. Manage is it's a massive competitive advantage to other agencies out there because there's no trust accounting and then everything is instantaneously done. So that's Manage. Very simple. That's Nick here on the left. He's great, fantastic software. Really love it. So that's what you do. So that's the first thing, listing. So once you get the appointment, as you know, everyone that's a full member of Oxbridge gets a free Coffee Club card. Coffee Club is fantastic because the reason why we give out Coffee Clubs is you go to a Coffee Club, you buy one, get one free. You get 2 lattes for $4.50. You give one to the vendor or to the client, and that would be a great impression for your first listing. And I've always done that in my past. I don't mind bringing a $4.50 coffee. I need one anyway for myself. So, $4.50 over 2, what's that? $2.25, cheap. Cheap coffee, cheaper than 7-Eleven, right? But it's a Coffee Club coffee. So every full member gets access to a Coffee Club membership for free. So once you visit the premises, obviously you need to do the forms. The forms are very, very easy. There's a few ways to do this. You can either do it through our software, which is obviously a few of them. So in different states have different forms, but we use RealWorks. So in Queensland, I can show that real quickly. I've got a few people, I think, on the call from Sydney and Melbourne. In Sydney and Melbourne, it's exactly the same. It's Real Forms, REA Forms. It's pretty similar. So obviously you need the listing documentation first. There's a few templates in here we can have a look at for the Queensland agents. There's a whole bunch of templates for Form 6s, it's called, in Queensland, and you can use that. The templates are fairly self-explanatory, and you can just follow those forms and fill out. In New South Wales and other places, same thing. We also have the listing documentation for those states as well as a template. So if you go to residential, this is New South Wales I'm looking at. Property management, okay, there's a whole bunch of forms on there. So this one here in New South Wales is the property management agreement. You open it. There's already a template in there. You just follow the template. It's pretty simple. You sign them up for usually 90 days or more, and then they become your client. You can charge whatever commission you want to charge. By practice, usually we get the first week letting fees. In commercial, it's usually the first month letting fees or 15% of the annual income. That's the general industry standard, but you can charge what you want. We also do, as you know, holiday lettings as well. It's a massive industry for us at the moment, turning empty apartments into hotels. Again, there's the same form. It depends on what state you're in. Anyway, so without going into the forms, that's probably another session. It's pretty easy. If you have any problems, you can always send it to us. We will support at oxbridge.com.au. The staff in the office will DocuSign it for you. You know, I hardly get anything signed by paper now. It's always DocuSign. I DocuSign everything myself now. Reason is I don't have to run around to the landlord, to the tenant to get them to sign the forms. Very, very easy. It's all legal binding. So if you so agents can actually sign up to 1 month free trial with DocuSign, but we do have a full subscription for it. You just have to send a support do it for you. Any questions so far? Sorry, from the people on the call. You're on the office. Any questions? That's the first process. Obviously, getting that listing. Get the listing, get them to sign it, charge whatever percent you want to charge, and then they become your client. So usually, property management, just to let everyone know, it's a very lucrative industry. Obviously, I think in general, with maybe 20 properties, you're looking at $2,000 to $3,000 income a month. It's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. And it's passive income. Passive income. Cool. So now we've hypothetically, we've got the listing now, and now we have to find a tenant. Again, very, very easy. You go to a CRM, you list your properties as a new residential rental listing. Everyone's got access to the CRM. And then where you go. So as I said before, we don't charge anything for the rentals because we don't need to charge anything for the rentals. Realestate.com, however, charges $100 per sales listing, but not for the rentals at the moment. It's up to you what you want to do with the clients. You can charge them maybe, there's a standard price of photography. Everyone should have a login into Digital Central, or you can order online to oxbridgemarketing.com.au. But usually it's quite cheap. It's $99 for photography. We found the rentals, in terms of the pictures, people probably spend a bit less. Some people even do it by themselves. Now, we've got the resources here in the members resource. There's actually a great app that I found for photography. It's 100% free. It puts a filter onto the pictures that you take, and it looks pretty good. It's almost like a professional picture. And so it's called Curb Appeal right there. That is a great app. Great app. You take it with the iPhone, the Android, and it looks like a professional photography. It combines 3 different exposures into one, and you just upload that onto your CRM. We also use another app now called Snapseed somewhere. So Snapseed, you can also find it online as well. Snapseed puts a logo on the images. So you go to the images, it puts, your name if you wanted to, and the name of the company. Why do you want to do that? I guess branding promotes market exposure, but also copyright. So people don't copy your images and take it for their own use. So that's something, FYI, a bit of a few tips. And then obviously this is fairly easy. There's a few tutorials on the CRM. Eagles runs hundreds of tutorials on the CRM itself. There's a huge resource page on Eagles. They've got, you look at Eagles knowledge base, it's hundreds of articles on that. But in general, to get started, it's very easy. You just fill these four things, and then you click on inspection time, and where you go. Very easy. So now the listing's uploaded. The next thing you want to do is to find a tenant. Obviously, tenants, not that hard to find. Give enough time and patience. So what you do is you on your Eagles, because Eagles is heavily automated. Every time you change an inspection time, an email goes out to the people that have inquired on the property. So you don't have to individually call the tenants to let them know the open home inspection is on, for example, Saturday. They will get an email and a text. So they will definitely come, hopefully, I would highly recommend, obviously, having an open home in advance to give it some time to come to your open. Then you found, let's say you found a tenant. I'm going to actually use a real example of a tenancy, and I'm going to actually put this online. So a bit of a background on this. This is a new property for us, 141.6 Carmody Road in Brisbane, in a suburb called St. Lucia. This is a rooming accommodation. You can see it's a rooming accommodation. It's got room 1, room 2. Why? Because the landlord says to us it's an investment for them. We say not a problem. To maximize the return, we've decided on a rooming accommodation. This is right near the University of Queensland. It's very, very popular for rooming. This is $230 plus another $250 a week. So, it's $480 for rooming as opposed to something like $400 for a straight general tenancy. Obviously, it makes better sense. So this is all done by DocuSign. So we've done this by DocuSign. A new tenant starts on the 3rd or the 4th, ends on the 2nd or the 10th. So 6 months residential tenancy agreement. It's a student rooming accommodations, and obviously different states have different forms. But we have all the templates in every single state for DocuSign. Send it to us, and we'll sign it for you. Very easy. And the ease of using DocuSign, everything's pre-filled, so you don't have to touch it. You just have to fill in if you fill in this date here, for example, DocuSign automatically fills the other dates on the form, so you don't have to fill in twice. So that's a good thing. If you fill this address, DocuSign automatically fills in all the other places with this address on it on the other pages on the form. So you don't have to do it twice. It reduces any mistakes that you may have. So here, I've just downloaded. I haven't really put the name in there just to protect confidentiality, of course. But the tenants, the first name, last name, they will sign this. They'll come back. And so in DocuSign, in all the states, we've combined everything to one form. That's the bond lodgement form and the tenancy form. That's just to help, obviously, the tenants when they come to sign the forms. They have to sign different forms. What happens when it comes back is we'll split these forms. We'll split the first 2 pages with the other pages, and we'll submit this to the RTA in Queensland, the Residential Tenancy Board. In other states, for example, in New South Wales, Victoria, and Tasmania, the system is much easier. The tenants pay directly to the bond board, so we don't have to worry a thing. So we say to them, look, this is how much you have to pay. You have to pay $920 to the bond board. Log into the bond board. They'll give you a BPay number. Just pay that, and we'll ensure that you pay it. If you don't pay it, then we will not let you into the apartment. In Queensland, it's a little bit indirect. So we get this form. We submit it online through what's called e-services. RTA takes about 3 days to come back to us with a BPay number, and then we'll submit the bond for them to the RTA. And then just the general contract, very easy, blah, 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 same as before. Entry report, we also have, Manage also has an entry report app, which is really, really cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually input this data into Manage, because what used to happen is tenants used to pay this through Property Tree, through a trust account. There's a few downsides with Property Tree. The first thing is receipting. Quite often we find people send us money, but we have no idea who sent us the money because they don't bother to put a reference number, or they send it through a friend's account. We have no idea who they are, so it becomes unknown funds. Fair trading does not like unknown funds in your account because it says to them your company hasn't had the right training to look after funds coming across. Manage solves that problem because people don't send money to us. People send money directly to the landlord. So this, for example, is still the old system. Our BSB trust account number, etc. That's the reference number. Our accountant relies on this number to track whoever sends the money. So if this reference isn't put in, then that will be a huge problem for us. We have to either try and find out or call them or verify in some way. They can also do it by BPay as well, but we prefer managed. Anyway, so I'm going to put this into the managed system now. So what I'm going to do is go into manage. So it's manage. Once you log in, if you need to log in, let me know and let my administration people know, and they will help you to get an app. Manage is really cool. So I log in through here. Log in, log out. Just log in quickly. Okay, so log in. In theory, if you're a property manager, you can only see your own properties. But we do have a lot of properties on here already. So I want to add a property. So manage is very similar to property tree or property me in that you've got two sides. You've got the landlords and you've got the tenants. Your job as a property manager is to add obviously both sides, but also occasionally you might get what's called a creditor. How managed deals with that is the creditors are paid directly either by the tenant or the landlord. We don't get involved in the payment of the creditor. If the payment is late, they chase the landlord or the tenant. In the past, with Property Tree, because the money is in our account, we have to process the payment for the creditor, and so they will chase us. But with this system, the landlord usually is responsible paying the creditor themselves, the bill themselves. So very simply, add a property, 2-second job. Obviously the address. I usually just copy this address, but I'm not going to copy. I'm going to type it in. So this is room 1/146 Carmody Road. All right, St. Lucia. The state is Queensland. The postcode 4067. Okay, easy. All right, so the property is in there. Bedrooms. Now, this is a roomy accommodation, so it's going to be 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 1 car space. It happens, so for hotels, it's exactly the same way. If it's a hotel management structure, it's going to be 1 bedroom as well. The property type, this is an apartment. I don't know which way it's based, north, I'd say, doesn't really matter. You might want to put some of this stuff in because it helps the tenant, I suppose. I think it's got, okay, I'm not too sure. Doesn't matter that much. And then, so your commission for this one here is 8.8%. Give you an example of the general commissions people charge in residential and commercial. In Queensland at the moment, Queensland is, I suppose, a less competitive market to other places that I've looked at. So, for example, in Sydney and Melbourne, you're looking at 5.5%, 6%. Incredibly competitive. I've seen property managers charging 4%, even 3% in the Western Sydney region because it's so competitive. In Queensland, we're a little bit more luckier. We can charge up to 8%. For rooming, I can charge up to 10% plus GST. For hotels, 15% plus GST. So rooming is a great niche to go into because a lot of agencies cannot or do not refuse to handle rooming. Rooming is always high commission because I suppose it's a bit more complicated, but it's not that complicated because in our document we have house rules. There's a little bit more difference with rooming in terms that we need to have a lock on every single door. We need to have a better smoke alarm system than the general tenancy. We need to make sure that there's house rules in place and that the space shared is kept clean. So we need to make sure there's cleaners that go in every now and then to make sure the space is habitable. So you put in your 8.8 is our commission for this property in Carmody. The wallet amount in Property Tree is equivalent to the amount of spending, I suppose, the landlord's given you. We just put 1,000. It's not a big deal. This is going to be a test property, but it's actually a real property. We actually manage this property, but I haven't given out the names of the vendor or the tenant. I'm going to say John Smith. It doesn't matter. I can delete later. John at Oxford. Actually, John's a real person at Oxford. Delete that. John Smith. Mobile, I don't know. Okay, and so you just say that. Easy. You can always remove the property later if it's wrong. You can drop your listing document. You probably want to create an image as well of the property to help people identify the property. You can keep a track of the keys. The system at Oxbridge is basically a hub and spoke system. So all the agents would have their own properties. I would highly recommend getting a key lock from Office worth about $30, very, very cheap. number the keys, never have the addresses on the keys, obviously, for security purposes, and then keep a track of a list of the keys somewhere else. So this, for example, I can say this is key 1. Who has the key? The agent has the key. Who else has the key? This acts as a sign in, sign out. You know, if someone wants to come and fix something, you can always add that on here. You know, sign in, sign out, kind of thing. So it's fairly easy. So if you have the key, so what the question is, how are you going to keep track of sign in, sign out? You can download a sign-in sheet from here. So, you know, I don't know if anyone has looked at, you know, on the software, there's actually a lot of stuff on there already. I hate paper. I always DocuSign this. Same thing in New South Wales. Maintenance request, obviously in writing from the tenant, appointment contractor, etc. It's always on there as a form, but managers are able to track it online. And then you go down here, strata, so obviously the body corp people, you put in the name, the details, etc., any special things. When you're renting a unit, the tenant must have a copy of the body corporate schedule, the bylaws. They must have a copy of the bylaws. In this particular instance, I think we do have somewhere, but I will put that in later on. So I can say that. Very easy. The next thing is these buttons here. You just need to complete. It's basically like a 4-step process. Lease. So here's the lease. Well, look, you know, it's on the contract, so I just copy and paste the contract. The contract's very, very clear. It's $230 a week. All right. It's purely accommodation. The guy paid on a Wednesday, so the 3rd of April. Hopefully it's a Wednesday. We usually put the first day they pay as the first day of the commencement of the contract. They pay every fortnightly. They don't have to, but they pay every fortnightly in this instance. So I can put that in. You can pay. They pay $230 a week. Deposit. Deposit is in the form. So 230 obviously multiplied by 4, which gives you 920. And then the bond. Oh, sorry, there's no deposit here. Sorry, there's no deposit. Deposit is a holding deposit. What usually happens sometimes is tenants will say, look, you know, I don't want to move until a month later, but I want to hold the room. If the landlord agrees, you can put a week or 2 weeks or a month, whatever, of holding deposit down. That eventually will contribute towards the bond and the rental agreement. Yeah. The question.
You know, you only put bond, so where are we going to put the extra 2 weeks amount they give us? You know, 2 weeks rent, they give us.
The holding deposit? The holding deposit eventually contributes to the bond or the rentals.
Okay.
So the holding deposit is basically to hold the apartment, but that 2 weeks or whatever they pay goes towards the bond and the rentals. Correct. Yeah, this will automatically look after that. The software will automatically take this and put it into the bond or the rentals.
Okay, so we're putting the deposit one. Then
Correct.
2 weeks rent.
Correct.
Okay,
or whatever deposit they've agreed to. It doesn't happen very often. I don't like taking deposits. You know, I like people that are quite clean. Either they want the room or they don't want the room. They want the property or not. You know, deposit is kind of like a half thing. You know, if you don't want it, don't take it. If you want it, well, then pay the whole thing. Pay 6 weeks, 4 weeks bond plus 2 weeks rent. This guy pays fortnightly or every week, so be careful of this. Every week is $230, so therefore fortnightly would be $460. Automatically changes for you. Yeah. So you can do what you want. Usually, I like fortnightly, but you know it doesn't really matter. You know, every time the tenant pays, the landlord gets paid. So if the landlord says to you, look, I don't want it every fortnight, I want it every week. Some landlords are like that because they say, look, I've got a mortgage pressure. You know, my bank takes my money out every month. I want to see my money now. So you can change it weekly, right? The tenant still pays every 2 weeks, but the system automatically adjusts for that and pays the landlord every week automatically. Yeah. First payment obviously is on. So when it starts. 3rd and the 4th. So this guy's about to start his rent, so 3rd and the 4th. Yeah. End date, 6-month contract. So what's the rest? 2nd and the 10th. Easy. I don't really see the bottom. No, that's not close enough. 2nd and 10th. Okay, save that. Okay, done. Easy. Tenant, I don't know, call it Mary Smith. I don't know, it doesn't matter. Mary, I'll delete later. Just an example. Whatever name, whatever's on the contract, obviously. 0420 100. Okay, save. Next. So when you click on save, they will actually get an email. Obviously, it's an invalid email. They'll get both the landlord and the tenant will get an email to activate their account. So now we've got John Smith as a landlord, which is in red, and then Mary Smith as a tenant, which is in blue. So that's fairly easy. So you just have to maybe give them a call and say, look, we've done it for Manage. It's a new software. Here's some information on Manage. Here's an article in the air file, blah, blah, blah. It's a great system. Make sure you sign up. I would activate that straight away. Send an email to support. Just say, look, I want to activate this property. And then they will activate it for you. Once that's activated, it's ready to take payments. And then when the payments come through, I want to show you a property that we just had. Maybe this is okay. We're actually dealing with this property yesterday. So there's a good property at Fitzgibbon. Great tenants, great landlords. The landlord's a little bit unsure about the new system. But once everything's okay, what happens is this. So I can just find the property. What's the property? Properties. So this is the property. It's a great little house in Fitzgibbon, northern suburbs of Brisbane. There's a little button here called Tasks and Ledgers and Financials. So these first two are just covered. The task, every time you log in, you should really check the tasks. This is the task for the property manager. So the task on this property says rent is overdue. Rent from the 20th of February to the 26th overdue. You click on it, and then it tells you what to do. So obviously, you have to call. Actually, you don't have to, but our back end will call the tenants for you. If we're managing it for you on a 60-40 split or a 10-90 split, our back end will call it for you. If you're managing yourself, obviously you have to call the tenant. The ledger, just quickly let you know, this is what you see in the back end. So this is $3.90 a week. The tenant has paid the rent. It says paid. All right. So she's pretty much up to date. She's paid up to the 19th of February, but she needs one more payment to be made for this week. Is that right? Yeah. So no, she's up to date. She's paid up to the 2nd of April. So she's definitely up to date. Why is the amount? Because the commission goes out. Our commission's there. All right, so we're taking commission. That's why the landlord has been paid this amount. Where is the statement? The landlord should be able to log in and should be able to check their ledger anytime, and they can see their statement instantaneously. So unlike Property Tree, where statements are sent out once or twice a month, this is instantaneous. Anytime the tenant and the vendor can log in and see, what has been paid. If they need that for accounting purposes, 100%. There's no need to go through auditing or fair trading because there's no trust. However, Manage does provide a statement every month for us to give it to our accountant. The accountant gives that to fair trading in the different states to make sure we're compliant. So it's very, very important. Obviously, it's other people's money we're playing with. Yes, we're entitled to commission, but the government definitely tracks these things fairly carefully. Financials, another button you can look at to see how much money has come in. So this one is 6.6%. You can change that. You can change the lease very, very easily by adjusting the rent, adjusting the bond, review the date, or terminate the lease. Very, very simple. And then pretty much that's it. Once it's activated, then it looks after itself. You just have to log into your properties and look at what tasks. This one obviously has been completed because we've been able to secure the rent for the landlord and the tenants has paid. The tenants have 3 ways to pay on managed. They can either do a direct debit through the bank account, a BSB number. They can do it by debit card, credit card. They can pay it manually, or they can pay it by BPay. If they do a direct debit, it takes a bit longer than the other methods. We pay for the transaction fees, all that kind of stuff, so it doesn't matter. But the landlord will get his or her amount after commission every single time the tenant pays within 24 hours.
No cash.
No cash. No cash. We don't deal with cash. Yeah, no account, no cash. It has to be, if they have a problem with cash, then they can go and open a bank account and deposit the money in that bank account and pay by direct debit. Yeah, we don't deal with cash. We just cannot. But that's managed in a nutshell. Manage is also able to handle commercial properties as well. We do have a license to do commercial properties. Actually, we're licensed to auctions as well. You know, there's not any auctions at the auctioneers in the company thus far, but you can do auctions on Oxbridge if you want to. So that's generally it. And that's what Tom has asked me to communicate across to everyone. It's pretty simple. It's much, much, much easier than Property Tree or Property Me, believe me. In Property Tree, what used to happen, what the 99% of the agents do is money goes into trust. There's a guy sitting there 24/7 receipting money manually. So you can imagine the mistakes can be made. Very, very common to make mistakes. When the money comes in, he or she has receipts in the different property. And that causes massive headaches for the landlord. And the landlord will call us, you know, where's my money? I'm really, really annoyed. I didn't get paid this month. And it turns out, you know, our accountant's sitting there with the wrong amount in a different property. And we've got hundreds of properties. You can imagine the accountant sitting there going crazy. With Manage, our accountant doesn't have to do any receipting. Money goes in, money goes out. And that's the benefit. For those people on a split with us, Manage automatically manage that split. So if you're on a 60-40 split, for example, you provide us with backing out details we put in for you on the financial section, you'll get paid every time the tenants pay. Yeah, this is the split. In Property Tree, what used to happen is if the tenants pay us, we're receipted twice a month. We send a statement to the landlord. When the landlord gets paid, we get paid. We have to manually work out the commission. Then we manually transfer the commission to you. Same thing. Same thing. You give me your BSB number. Stanley gives us the BSB number. It gets split automatically. Yeah. That's the power of this software, you know, because our system is very, very different to other agencies. Other agencies, automatic, yeah. Yeah. Other agencies, most salespeople don't even touch PM. If a salesperson refers a property management to a property manager, that's it. He or she doesn't really get very much. And the problem with that is the salespeople have to rely on sales. There's no other income. I mean, if you don't eat, right? And that, I guess that's the problem with a lot of agencies out there. If you don't sell anything, you don't eat. With property management, I would highly recommend people look into it because that's a stable income you can have yourself. You don't have to leave the house to make money. I will also recommend hotel management. I haven't got time to go through hotel management today, but we have a platform that we use that goes to all the hotels, bookings.com, Airbnb, you name it. There's 65 sites we go to. Agoda, Kayak. It's exactly the same. The software is there, but just want to encourage people to use it. And again, it's very easy. You go to RP Data, you know, to prospect for, you know, I think I've done this before. Certainly, one of our sales managers, I've done this training session before. Prospecting for leases, for rentals is so much easier than prospecting for sales. Let's take Sydney, you know, just change cities. CBD, on a rent something. And you can do this through RP Data as well. Obviously, you access RP Data. You search. So this is trying to process for rentals. The idea is to convert all these properties into hotel management, and that's something that a lot of agents do not even touch. They don't even understand property management for hotels. How do we get on Bookings.com? No idea. Very, very easy. All you have to do is to go from the oldest to the newest. All right, I think this is already sorted. This one here at 828 Harbour Street, Sydney, Southport 2000. It's been on the market for a while. Right? You go to RP Data, you can find out when it was first listed. You find out where they live, and you say to the landlord, look, you're currently trying to rent at 1,100 a week. It's not working for you. It's been on the market for the last 6 months. Your current property manager, with all due respect to these guys, has obviously not rented the property for you. What we're trying to do is want to convert it to a hotel. We can rent it at Airbnb. We can rent $250 a night. 250 multiplied by 7, multiplied by, say, an 80% occupancy is much better than what you can get right now. And it's sitting there empty. This apartment's sitting there empty at the moment. The poor landlord, is paying mortgages, right, on interest without any income coming in.
Insurance cover.
Airbnb has $1 million insurance policy. Yeah, we have all the insurance for hotels as well.
Company is taking back the insurance for what?
Depends on landlord. Man, this landlord must be desperate. If I have an apartment, $1,100 a week, that's nearly $5,000 a month. It's sitting there empty. I'm going to be really annoyed. My property manager is sitting there for the past 6 months without any tenants. I'll be really annoyed. If I give him a call, I can convert this guy to, look, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I understand, a little bit annoyed currently with your current situation, but we offer something a little bit different. I can rent this as a rooming for you. I can rent this as a hotel for you. We're just a little bit different. Even if you want a general tenancy, it's not a problem. We use something called Manage. It's trust-free accounting. You get paid instantaneously. It's just something that you have to talk to the landlords about to get that property across to your portfolio. All right, so I don't want to spend too much time. I usually try and keep it within an hour. Is there any questions for anyone at all that we could answer? Feel free to fire away.
One question. If the owner, your owner, put your details, like your bank details, and made a mistake, but how can it be solved?
Okay. The question is, if the vendor, the landlord, makes a mistake on entering the bank details, not a problem. God forbid that happens, because the money is 10 years. You made a mistake, it goes to the wrong account, and that is a problem. So what you have to do is you just have to email us, and then we can get it fixed for you.
How does the landlord can see that they can't see the account details?
Yeah. So at the moment, because of security, Manage currently only allows landlords to enter their own account details. But Tom and I are working on something so we can actually change the bank account for the person, and we can see that. Just like Property Tree can see that. We also have the inspection app as well. I don't know if you looked at this, but Manage also, we have the full suite of software. Manage Pay, Manage Maintenance, Manage Inspect. Yeah, it's Manage Inspect. Yeah. At the moment, I don't know if you know, a lot of people use Real Inspect. Real Inspect is okay. We take a few pictures. It's all cloud-based. Manage Inspect is even cooler because there's no paperwork at all.
What? So it doesn't go to real work?
No.
Then how do
It syncs with the back end. Yeah, same thing. If the tradies, you enter the details of the tradies. All right, you just go to the property, and then you add a request, add a task. All right, what's the task assigned to? Maintenance. It's assigned to whatever. Tom, you'll look after it.
Right.
Assigned to your landlord, whatever, and then your landlord goes, what the hell is this? And then you say, dear, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you actually have a maintenance request from your tenant. The air conditioning is broken. And then, so obviously, can we have information to get a few quotes? Obviously, yes, the quotes come through. It's going to cost you $300. Here's the bill, pay it. So then the landlord knows about that bill.
That's cool. What's that wallet amount? That's what's down. And then any of this comes out of that wallet amount. Okay.
The wallet itself is your is your maintenance ability. So it's a bit like in Property Tree. But if people know in Property Tree.
I would recommend ask the owners first before you do anything.
Yeah.
Because it's very important.
Yeah.
Owners need to know everything what's happening because they don't like surprises.
The wallet amount is basically the maximum amount that the landlord agreed to give you access to his money without his permission or her permission. Generally, the rule is to ask your landlord about everything. That's what you said before. It's generally 2 weeks. Yeah, convention. Yeah, 2 weeks rent usually. It's on a listing document.
That's what it is.
Well, generally a listing agreement, the landlord agrees, for you to access his or her money 2 weeks without his or her permission to fix general stuff. I think that the rule is even if you have that 2 weeks in place, ask your landlord. I've got landlords that don't even want to do maintenance. He goes, you know what? Don't send me any maintenance request. I'm a handyman. I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
To save money, I'll do it myself. Plumber, I'm a plumber. No problems. I've got people that are on the extreme opposite. Right? You send them any bill, they'll pay for it. They just don't care about any of the property management. They don't want to know about property management. They just want to send their money in the bank account every single month. They don't care. Just fix it. I don't care what you just fix it. So there's this polar extreme, but I think the best rule of practice is to ask your landlord 100% what they want, because you never know, what they want. Are there any questions for anyone on the phone? There's a few people on the phone. The wallet money? The question is, what is the wallet money? The wallet money is just sits there. It just gives you an idea on how much the landlord is prepared to give you to use. Yes, it's on the form. It's on the listing form. On the listing form, usually I put 2 weeks, but and they on the listing form. It's on the listing form. But on the listing form, on the form 6, for example, or whatever form you're going to use, it would say, the landlord has discretion of 2 weeks without permission of the landlord to maintain general expenses. So in theory, legally speaking, if there's anything under 2 weeks, you can use that money without permission of the landlord to fix general stuff. But I would still recommend, even with that in place, call the landlord first. 100%, yeah. But what happens with property management, I have to say, it's more litigious. People can take it to QCAT, New South Wales CAT, VCAT, you name it, because the landlord might be slightly pissed. He goes, what's going on here? I didn't give you permission to use this money. All right, and then they'll take it to QCAT, whatever.
I'm sorry, so that money comes from the first 2 weeks of put into that wallet, or you can pay the money up front?
No, it's just FYI. It's just an FYI thing to let you know. So if I hit a maintenance request and the wallet amount, for example, is 2 weeks, then I got to make sure I put in, this is changing light bulb. It's only $100. It's in that 2 weeks. And then what I'll do first is I'll call the landlord. Look, your tenants have requested a change in light bulb. It's $100. Are you happy? And then he or she might say, please don't annoy me in the future with small things like that. Just go ahead. Yeah. Okay, no problem. I'll put that down. Can you send me an email in writing? Right. Just to say, in the future, don't annoy me. Because what happens, because I've been to QCAT, VCAT many times over idiot issues because people have not put things in writing. I would highly recommend, if landlord says to you, please don't annoy me in the future, sure, no problems, but can I have that in just an email, please? Because it's a litigious, the company can only do so much to look after and protect you, right? If you're there and the landlord's not happy and they sue you, it's a highly litigious industry, people can sue you anytime. And this is your client, it's your property. So I would highly recommend things in writing.
So it's a 2 weeks rent and 4 weeks bond.
Generally, yeah, 2 weeks rent, 4 weeks bond in advance. Generally, with the system, however, they usually pay for their own bond. So there's two ways of doing this. They can either transfer the money to us in trust, and then when we get the BPay number, whatever, from the bond board or RTA, whatever, then we can pay that for them, or they can pay it directly to the bond board or to RTA.
So if the landlord does decide to fix the house, we still got to send an entry notice, don't we? Like you can't just put funds up in the
100%, yeah, 100%. If the question was, do we need to send entry notice? 100%, all the time.
So first 2 weeks we get from first 2 weeks rent and then 4 weeks bond. How that bond will be treated?
The bond, so we don't want to handle the bond. So in the past, the bond gets to our trust account and then we pay for it. But with Manage is we will lodge the forms for them, it's not a problem, but they need to pay for it. So the bond board would directly contact them in New South Wales, in Queensland. What happens is the RTA sends us a notice. We forward the notice to the tenant. The tenant will pay using BPay. We can track that to see if they've paid. If they haven't paid, there will be a phone call from Dean, our back end, to remind them, please pay your bond.
Once the bond is paid, the tenant pays 2 weeks rent and enter in the property. That bond, 4 weeks bond, how that is going to be lost? Going to be with RTA.
They lodge it themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't touch it.
We don't touch it.
We don't touch it. Yeah. Yeah.
Software takes
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to put how many weeks bond is in there, so you have an idea. Usually 4 weeks bond. Yeah. Usually we're trying to do 4 weeks. And then the bond board keeps that money.
Yes.
It's in their bank account. When you exit the property, obviously
we don't have to do anything before 4 weeks
No.
bond.
No.
The software will take
Look after. No, the back end will lodge it for us. Yeah, we have a whole team in Sydney. You know, this.
Okay, the back end will lodge.
Yeah, the company's MPS. They're fantastic at doing this. They're good at chasing people down. We pay them to do that for us.
First 2 weeks go to the wallet.
First 2 weeks goes to the wallet. Yeah, they pay that. Yeah.
Then owner will get paid from them.
Correct. Yeah. Are there any questions from anyone at all about Managed? It's a pretty simple system. I think it's fantastic. Lastly, I would also highly encourage people to do commercial as well. We do have the ability to do commercial leasing. Commercial leasing is fantastic. Especially, I've got a current agent at the moment. He's got a commercial lease for a whole shopping center. You know, we're not talking $2,000 a month. We're talking $50,000 a month.
The company got a license. That means I got a license.
You have to have a full license. I would highly, again, recommend 99% of our agents are full license. In the contract, it's very simple. You're given a few months of grace period to get a full license, but you have to get a full license eventually. The law is very, very simple. You know, everyone that is in real estate at the moment needs a full license.
Same thing about auction.
Auctions are separate license altogether. Yeah, we do have an auctions license. If you go on Fair Trading,
I
you
can't
can
go
check.
and do the auction.
No, don't do auctions. Yeah, you get fined. Yeah, we can do auctions. We have auctioneers in the company that can do auctions. We have an auctions license. Yeah, we can do auctions. Any other questions from anyone? Yeah. So how to encourage commercial? Commercial is fantastic. You know, with $50,000 a month, imagine just a 5% commission. That's a lot of money. It's done exactly the same way. You know, you put in the shops instead of residential properties. First week letting fee is always 1 week. Yeah. Oh, last thing, just to remind everyone, the letting fee is really cool. The letting fee, every 6 months, we take a letting fee. So sometimes what I do is I ask the landlord, look, you know, our contract's signed for 12 months. Do you mind if I take 2 weeks letting fee? Because what happens is, the contract depends on the form you sign with your landlord. I try to take a letting fee or a contract renewal fee every 6 months. So if the landlord, if the tenant has signed up for 12 months, I'd say, well, that's 2 times 6 months, right? Every 6 months I get a letting fee. Do you mind if I take 2 weeks plus GST off the top when the lease is signed? Because what happens is people usually forget after 6 months you have to take another fee. You see what I mean? So I will highly do it because it's always it's a norm that people do a letting fee.
When you find the tenant, that's when you charge letting fee?
Yes, but people can also charge a contract renewal fee. Yeah, it's up to you how much you want to charge. What I usually do is I charge every 6 months a fee. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. I could just find tenants that would be 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. Why would I bother finding a tenant for 12 months? Well, you should be paid for someone that is coming into your property for 12 months rather than 6. Okay, on that note, thank you very much for today. This will be recorded, shared online. But have a great day. Any other questions? No? Okay, excellent. Thank you and have a great day. Bye now.